It astonishes me to hear this stuff about Mike because when you hear stuff about LeBron, all these old that was alive during this time and lived this will call him all types of soft. What is he doing to my game? Shut up and dribble. Just play basketball. Why are we doing the extracurriculars? Why are we worried about so many other things? Play what was given to you. Mike did. No, he didn't. He quit twice, retired twice, and came back. I don't. Just goes to show, man.
Twice.
This
He came back
pushes
twice.
exactly. Retired twice, came back twice. Listen, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to push no agenda. I'm not pushing no agendas. I'm just saying it is ironic at the very least to me. The smoke all you old scratchy gray beard geezers get. It's crazy how I get about LeBron and how everyone looks up to him and the state of the game. But if we go back and look in history, them guys were doing equally as much behind the scenes, equally complained. I watched him the time. Magic didn't want to get on the bus. I seen it. I seen it. He sat there in the tunnel. He didn't want to get on the bus. He had to be convinced to get on the bus. If you would have heard LeBron was not getting back on the bus, how many videos would have came out about how soft LeBron is? But y'all don't want to talk about Magic and Mike like that. I get it. It's selective memory. I understand. You let them tell it. This nigga was Santa Claus. He ain't do no wrong. He was a legend. It was the nigga didn't even talk. He was mute. He punched teammates if they were doing bad. But other than that, it was just championships and rainbows. 6 years out the 15 he played and didn't quit. Crazy.
Let me add this, Sage, before
Be
you
like
go.
Malcolm with the can and appreciate the 5, my boy.
Oh, appreciate the 5. Be like, Mal, come on now. I want to add this before you add anything. Remember, 97-98, Michael's last season, he wins MVP averaging 29, 6, and 4. The next season, the lockout season, Karl Malone wins the MVP averaging 24, 9, and 4.
Yeah, that was the scam one. Y'all know I'm a 90s casual, man. So if I don't look my best post comments, I'm a shameless 90s casual. Y'all got it. Cook up. I am a casual. From recollection though, it basically, and from what I just heard in that clip, it honestly just sound like a good old, hey, we just don't like each other. And fans picked a side, and we know how the NBA is today, but to be honest, sometimes I think people overrate times changing. No, it's the same mentality a lot of the times, but the kids grew up and they think the world changed. No, you didn't. You just welcome to the Adultsville. Hi, we have cookies. So I say that to say, I think it was easy for these people to side with Michael Jordan because he's a player. So a lot of the things that Jerry did, whether right or wrong, they don't really get talked about, especially from his point of view, unless he was vocal about it. Now, if there's an article out there, hey, you got me. Told you I'm casual. You got me. But from what I'm hearing, we have The Last Dance. We have a couple of people that are just anti-Jordan, but we don't have anything from like Jerry's camp, I want to say, or like Jerry himself. So it's a pretty one-sided narrative. I'm not going back to the boo, I guess, because I guess that's the main thing here. With the information given to me, I'm still like, I wouldn't have booed. First of all, he passed. Like at that point, yeah, he split up my team. But like for example, Laker fans, if David Stern popped up, are we really sitting there? Well, I guess Damo is, but I like majority of fans, most likely than not, are not. Oh, Chris Paul, boo, you suck. And it's like, well, I guess he made you mad, but you're booing the man when he's dead, and especially given. Imagine if David Stern was responsible for 6 rings. So it's a mixed bag. But like, if you don't like him, you don't like him, and that's just how it is. I'm not going to the level where the coaches were or the players were, and their coaches and players, they're going to have to go to this level of, oh yeah, classes, all that extra stuff, because ideally you kind of set Jerry up. That's the one thing I'll give the fans grace for. Kind of set him up for failure. You know, Chicago don't like him. There's a clip of him getting booed years ago. And you think no Jordan, no Pippen, but hey, here's Jerry is going to get cheers. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, that's probably pretty much all I have there.
I will say before, they still ranked the next season. They still ranked number 1 in attendance. I just want to say before we continue on, looking at everything that I just looked at, there's no doubt in my mind that they could have won.
Oh, it weren't over. Oh yeah, no.
They could have won again. And I want that lie to not be told. With how Karl Malone won the MVP, with those whack stats, and even the second place person, with how the East shook up, with the players that they had returning, they were still able to pull out like a 16th ranked defense. Now their offense was totally shot, but they were able to pull out a 16th ranked defense with, fucking Tony Kukoc, Brent Berry, Ron Harper, Randy Brown, Dickie Simpkins, like literally nobody. So they would have been able to make at least a deep playoff run. I think the conversation though to me is, what is more important, the GM or the player? The front office or the player? And as a LeBron fan, as a current Luka fan, as a guy who's watched Kobe his whole career, as a guy who sat through Tim Duncan his whole career, I gotta go with the front office. There's no other way that I can go about that. I've seen teams be built around subpar pieces and still prevail. Maybe not always to the championship level, but have had great success. I've seen great players, probably championship level players, not be able to move an inch because they're surrounded by just trash. Like if it looks like New York City outside, it's surrounded by trash.
This is insane. I'll say, yo, you're sick, man. You're sick. I'll say all time, and I'm not talking 50. I'm talking like top 15. All time player, all time front office, great front office, good front office, great player, and then everything else down. Because I'm not gonna lie, I think the one exception to the rule is if you get one of them ones. Now, getting one of them ones, the argument can easily be, but it's kind of mixed because it's dishonest in terms of the question in general. Then, but well, how do you get that great player? Front office. But assuming that like you just spawn a franchise and they have an all-time player and an all-time GM, I would say the player is more valuable because what that player can do for you is first of all, bail you the fuck out. Like, my God, like you could mess up. You could mess up. And if you only have a good player, let alone a great player, sometimes you're out for the whole season. An all-time player, a LeBron James caliber player, a Steph Curry caliber player, even. Hey, we're in the finals now. We're in the finals with a roster that has no business being there. I know we point to 4 and 6? 4 and 6, LeBron. Mm-hmm. I know we pointed 4 and 6, and we're like, oh yeah, he lost 6 times. I want you to understand that is 10 finals appearances. That is 10 finals appearances, bro. That is crazy. And some things in basketball is a game of momentum. I wouldn't dare imply they would actually go on and win the thing. But like, take this for example, right? Let's say they actually get game 1. Hey, that goes from 0%. Either the 2018 one, I want to say, that goes from 0% to, hey, don't let us get 2. And that's all I'm saying. So like stuff like this, I'll say all-time players at the end of the day, they'll always have it. The NBA has made itself that way, especially of later generations. However, that's literally, I'm talking 15 players and up. The general answer, 99% of the time, is a front office. Case in point, let's go to that same finals. Why didn't LeBron win? Because a fantastic front office said, I don't give a fuck about the other fans. Kevin Durant, come on down. Welcome to The Price is Right. What did the Raptors do? Hey, we get one shot. I don't care about this 500 stuff, and we're going to talk about 500 teams in a minute when we pivot to football. I don't care about that. Hey, Kawhi, we got one chance. We're going to get it done now. We'll deal with the repercussions later. So I do think, and I'm chatting, Damo, you need to go, but I think it's outside of literally not top 20, not maybe top 15, but like certainly without a shadow of a doubt, you hate them the most and they're 15. All-time great player, then front office solos.
10 times out of 10, great GMs outweigh great players. I'm trying to think back to a team that was able to win with just a great player, great players, and not a great situation. I'm finding it hard to think of a team that can even be an exception. I'm not gonna act like I'm versed in all NBA. So if you're telling me Bob Pettit in '55, hey man, it was just Bob out there. Like, all right, you got me. I'm sorry, you got me. I didn't know. I couldn't name black and white TV basketball, so you got me there. But in terms of modern era, what I can think of in my era, great situations always arise. Even with great players, you used to have a great organization, great front office, great situation for those great players. We've seen plenty of great players in our time who just weren't able to get it done because the fact that the situation wasn't good enough or wasn't good at all. So, I mean, if I can find an exception, then I can say sometimes, but legit 10 times out of 10, I'm going great front office over great player.
I think in this conversation we look back at like all these great players and all these things and how they had shortcomings. Charles Barkley's, Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, the Thunder, like all these things, and we can go back further still. All these people, all these teams, all these times, and figure out why it didn't pan out. And yes, I can agree. There is a good portion of just, hey, this guy fell short personally. Like I could talk about Harden's playoff misses. I truly can. But oftentimes, I always turn and say, like, yo, if this front office just made one decision, maybe two, but really, it's a lot of, if this person made one decision, or if this person had this coach, and we always talk about, oh, well, if this guy had a shooter, if this guy had, who makes the decision to get this guy a shooter? It's the front office. It's the front office every single time. Could you imagine what the league would look like if the Oklahoma City Thunder just decided, you know what? Let's just go into the luxury. Fuck it, why not, right? Crazy concept. Because what was the discrepancy between the Harden deal? Like $5 million? $4 million. Come on, like we're talking about an entirely different NBA. If Dan Gilbert wasn't like, you know what? I think I got a thing that's going to take us over the edge. A pair LeBron with 50-year-old Shaq. I'm just going to do that.
Step further. If he just doesn't give Bron the finger, if he doesn't just give him the finger on the way out, like the possibility of LeBron's decision going back was live until Dan's like, yeah, man, I don't want
we don't need him.
We don't need that guy. What?
There's so many NBA. I think there's more to me NBA what ifs that involve team construction, coaches, all that stuff like that, as opposed to what if this guy just played well? Like, oh, let me give you a what if. If this guy just played well, I'm telling you, I really, really think that there's more. Oh, hey, if this guy just made the right decision and not gave, I don't know, Timofey Mozgov 60, 70, 80, 90 bajillion dollars.
And then double down with Luau. Oh.
If they didn't decide to draft Wiseman instead of LaMelo and start this 2-timeline thing and then switch up and then do all these little random ass shit, sign Chris Paul. If they just decided not to do that, where would these people be? Like, come on, bro. I don't even know how this is an argument, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it really shouldn't be. I seen when Damo said in the recent generation, people brought up Milwaukee. I'd probably disagree with there. Maybe you don't like Coach Bud, but you have to really not like Coach Bud to argue that entire front office is bad, especially if we go down the transaction report. If we go down draft history, the Bucks franchise front office being bad is a crazy argument to die on. I would also say any person that has a valid I gotcha card. The worst part about this debate for you is that there's probably, if I had to get paid to do it, there's probably factually 10 arguments in that season of a front office diff. It's that crucial. I get that front office doesn't trend on Twitter. When we had Kofi up here, when we had Kofi up in here, he's talking about the front office. I get that some of you guys, you're like, man, go ahead and just blame Cade already. Y'all don't want to hear about Monty and management. But the reality is, a lot of the times, these players is getting old. Now, now when you get to a point where, hey, you in a situation, how will you respond? Oh, let the tweets fly. For sure. But even teams like Boston, sometimes you can say, yo, yeah, our players are in a position to compete, but why are we holding back a little bit? Like, or you could go to extreme situations. The Sacramento Kings, when you really think about it, we should have had a dynasty about 5 years ago. We just missed on like 10 straight draft picks. So it's several times. It's several times. I truly don't think it's a debate as well. My only outliers are literally those guys. And then even the all-time great guys that I mentioned, we could go down the top 10, 15s, and we got some players that get hold. Hell, y'all know I'm a Kobe fan. Kobe couldn't do that with a bad front office when we had Smush and Rashad Nesterovich, or was it Vlade? I don't know. It was one of them. Like Kwame Brown, Kobe couldn't make it out of there. But when we got for Pau Gasol, it's like, holy shit.
But none of them really could. It took Jerry Krause going to find Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. Michael Jordan needed Pippen. The second, and not even needed Pippen. He needed Pippen to shout out Max Kellerman. Needed Pippen to be an all-star. Second Pippen was an all-star. It was over with. We could go down Magic and Kareem one together.
I know you don't do 90s. Tony Kukoc. People weren't recruiting overseas players like that.
Right. That's true.
From my understanding, it wasn't a scout. It was Jerry Krause who went and found Tony Kukoc.
Damn, if that's true.
Hey. And what did I say on playback? Who gonna do the job? Me. I'll do it. I'll do it myself. I'll put the work in because I care. And Sage, I'm glad you brought up the point of people not blaming front offices. I witnessed that firsthand. I went on the platform. Shout out Mookie. Went on his little show because everybody was so pressed to talk to me about the Lakers. Asking, well, who are you blaming on the Lakers now? I'm like, okay, well, I mean, LeBron and AD, 25% each, I guess. After that, go down the list of every coach. The front of Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss. I got called crazy. I got called crazy. What? That's not enough blame for LeBron and AD. And how are you going to blame the front office? Oh, one, I'm not there. I'm not there. I don't know who is making decisions. But if we just think the coach is the solo decision maker in the entire front office, I'm crazy. I'm crazy for thinking that. For not thinking that. I'm crazy for thinking there's a coaching staff, there's a front office of GMs, assistant GMs, psych analysts, advisors, all that. All those people. Listen, again, I watch Winning Time. I see how they sat in that room and schemed and scandaled. I've seen it. That's how I went. That's how it goes. Everyone has a say-so. I don't know who to say so, so I'm going to blame everybody. I got called crazy for, we don't do that over here. We don't blame everybody. We pick one person and we blame that coach. I'm the crazy one. Thank you. I'll just be crazy.
Yeah, that just sounds like y'all want to bully somebody. And I'm not saying, hey, look, we have our trolls, we have our bits. Hell, Damo was just saying to Boo Shawty not even 20 minutes ago. But there comes a point where it's like, yo, can we be like a little remotely logical? And I don't want to talk like I'm smarter than people. I always think I'm like the dumbest in the room, dumbest on the screen, whatever. But come on, bro. Like even little old me can realize, yo, you think this is just Darvin Ham? Like just him? That he made the roster and told him how to play and did the minutes and is in and gonna do the future trades? Really? All him? Look, he only got 2 pockets. He can't do all of that. There's people higher up that's making mistakes. But yeah. I'm just thinking about all the endless examples right now, and I'm like, okay, what players have really overcome that? And they're literally like LeGoat, Curry that one time. I guess you could argue that at some point, Kobe's front office was but they were just letting it rock. It's not that many examples.
The only time I promise you I cannot think of it. I really can't even think because I can't think of a time in my life where it hasn't been a bad team.
Yeah,
bad.
Yes.
Now I can think of times where they overachieved, and to me that would be the Hawks from top to bottom in 2015.
Yeah,
the way that they brought in, the way that they coached, or they brought in a coach, and then the coach set the table for those people. I do want to read somebody's comment, and then I want to play Gil's clip before we get out of this one. Dang, I think his name was Adrian. He said the issue is a lot of those teams are built to be commercially viable, and that's it. A superstar player raises and puts standards of it, an all-time player that's the top of the tier. I think he's saying that teams look to make money, so they don't necessarily make the greatest moves, but when they get a top player, the top player sets the standard. But again, I would disagree, because I've seen teams get top players and still make piss poor decisions from a management perspective. It's going to take, I can guarantee you, and it sounds crazy, I don't think that there's a team in this league that wouldn't benefit from having the best management. I don't think that there's a team in this league. It's the NBA. All these teams have the capability to win 40 games. I'm putting my stamp on that. 40 games, bare minimum. I'm being dead ass.
As currently constructed, or you're saying if a good GM
okay. Right.
Yeah.
As currently constructed with some moves, a GM can make a great GM, great ownership, and then I'm going to add the coaching staff into that, can make any team into a 40-win team at the minimum. They're all professional athletes. Everybody could be elevated to at least be good. I seen the Hawks go from what they were in 2015 or 2014, and not just a shit team, but come on, they weren't, come on now, to a 60-win team. To a 60-win team. They went from 38 wins to 60 wins the next season. You can't, you just can't tell me that is just, you would only get that from, I don't know. No superstar, no none of that stuff.